started because I want to give Joe plenty of time to share with us more about Emmaus House. And so if you're staying, you may want to come to the front a little bit because I don't think Joe's going to use a microphone. I don't know that I need to either, but maybe when we're shifting gears we do. I'll give you just a minute to get settled and then I'll offer a prayer. I've already introduced Joe, so I won't do that again, but I will just say again how grateful we are that he's here, and especially given our long history with Emmaus House. And Bill Grace reminded me that we have two former rectors. I did not remember that about Stan McGraw, but that we have two former rectors who served as directors at Emmaus House. So it feels good and right that Joe is here today. The Lord be with you.
And also with you.
Let us pray. God, we're so grateful for the ways that you're at work among us, for the light of transfiguration that can show us what's already happening and the ways that you're already at work. We give thanks for Joe's presence among us today. We ask your blessing on his work and the work of the staff at Emmaus House, that lives will be changed because of your love being made manifest in that place. In the name of Christ we pray. Amen. Amen.
All right.
Oh, right. Over here, it's not, or we can just put it up there if you're going to speak.
All right. Who can you hear me back there? Yes?
Yes.
Lady in the orange or the red sweater, you can hear me? Yes? You? Yes? Beautiful. All right. Well, thanks. Thanks for having me here. Good. What do you need me to do? Stand here? What do you want me to do? Do what I want to do. Up to you. My wife is somewhere in the building. There she is. Well, my freedom has been constrained now.
Sorry to be a pain with this one. We just do that.
Yeah, there you go. All right. My wife, Laura, we've been married 43 years. We married at the Cathedral of St. Philip, actually, where Laura, thank you, was baptized. Want to know my secret? I do everything she says. Cheerfully, joyfully, promptly. All right. Hey, look at you.
The stately Social Security volunteer.
We got. Man, I thought with Ann Fowler we couldn't. With Ann Fowler here, we've got the whole thing, right? You got it. All right. We got the whole team, the dream team.
You have something peculiar stuck on you.
This is my microphone to do something. Paul told me to wear this, and so I'm wearing it. All right, so we have, I guess, about 45 minutes or so together. Welcome, thank all of you again. Here's what we're going to do to kick this off. I did this last time. I was talking about Freedom School. Freedom School is our summer program. It's usually for somewhere between 75 to 100 kids from the neighborhood. It's all about reading and maintaining reading scores. In the summer, all kids, whether they're from a rich neighborhood or poor neighborhood, their reading scores drop down. And what we have done now for 10 consecutive years is we have kids and they focus in on reading and they're rigorously tested in the beginning and rigorously tested at the end. And we always are able to maintain or increase the reading scores, which is, the kind of impact that we think is useful to have and to show. Okay, so here's what I want you to do, please. There's my welcome slide. There's some Freedom School kids having a grand time. I want you to turn to someone near you, and I want you to share with that person a favorite childhood book you remember from your early childhood. Yes? Yes. Go ahead. Take a minute and do that. Okay. Enough already. All right. Enough. It's only one book. What's going on here? All right. Well, I don't know. I haven't decided. Let the Spirit move me. What was your favorite book? What was the book?
Blueberries for sale.
Robert McCluskey. I love that.
Yeah,
Pippi Longstocking.
The Ugly Duckling.
The Ugly Duckling, and the same author. No, not same author. That's Make Way for Ducklings.
Johnny and the Monarch.
Johnny the Monarch. Tom Swift. What do you got over here?
Good Night Moon.
Good Night Moon, of course. Yeah.
my dad wrote me a child book called Jessica's House.
Jessica's House. All right.
Little House on the Prairie.
Little House on the Prairie.
Beautiful Joe.
Beautiful Joe.
A View from Saturday.
A View from Saturday. Don't remember that far back.
There's so many of them.
All right, give us one.
Well, I can't. Dr. Seuss.
Dr. Seuss. Good enough.
I'm on Dr. Seuss.
Dr. Seuss. Black Beauty.
Anne of Green Gables.
Anne of Green Gables.
Green Eggs and Ham.
Green Eggs and Ham.
Bobbsey Twins.
Bobbsey Twins. Of course.
Mike Mulligan and his steam shop.
Yes.
Peter Pan.
Peter Pan. Huck Finn.
Wrinkle in Time.
Wrinkle in Time.
Nancy Drew.
Go Dog Go. Remember that? Over here. What do you got?
The Little Engine That Could.
Little Engine That Could, of course.
It's a series of books called the Book of Knowledge.
Okay, Book of Knowledge. Hey, nerdy guy there. All right.
Castle of Adventure.
Castle Adventure.
The World of Pooh.
World of Pooh.
Jack and Jane.
All right. Annabelle.
Anything by Judy Blume.
Anything by Judy Blume.
Pippi Longstocking.
Pippi Longstocking.
Beautiful Joe.
Beautiful Joe. Two of Beautiful Joes.
Wrinkle in Time.
Wrinkle in Time. Good Episcopal book. Good.
Horton Hears a Who.
Horton Hears Who? Green Eggs and Ham, of course.
Secret Garden.
Secret Garden.
Miss Pigglewiggle.
Miss Pigglewiggle.
Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins.
Little Women.
Little Women.
Blueberries for Sale.
Blueberries for Sal yet again.
And then the Magic Mountain.
All right, Magic Mountain.
Another Go Dog Go.
Okay, another Go Dog Go. Did I miss anybody? No. You know how I can tell we are Episcopalians here? You know how I can tell? Nobody said the Bible. What's with that? I'm telling you. What, guys? What? All right. Well, thanks for that. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you a very high level. I've got Ann Fowler here for quality control. Right? So if I make a mistake or something, raise your hand and I will stop.
Yes, sir.
Okay? I'm going to give you Emmaus House and its work at a very high level. And then we're going to have a little bit of a conversation because we're kind of at a turning point in many ways, down there in Peoplestown. And I'll tell you a bit more about that. Does that sound good? Anybody got any better ideas than this? No? Laura, you're good with this? Should never ask that. All right, our mission. Who's going to read that for me? Paul, read that for me.
Emmaus House works to improve the economic and social well-being of the residents of Peoplestown and surrounding neighborhoods.
Thank you very much. Yes, we're a place, our focus, some nonprofits focus on a kind of a content, like education or health. We focus on those things, but Emmaus House, as you all know, is a place-based, right? It's about Peoplestown as the center of that.
Where is Peoplestown?
Peoplestown is, do you know where the old Braves Stadium, now the Georgia State Panther Stadium?
Approximately.
It's maybe, 5-10 blocks due south down what used to be Capitol. I think it's now Hank Aaron. You can virtually see the stadium there. Okay? All right. Stands for justice and equity, rooted in faith and deep respect for the dignity of every human being. We harness the power of community, education, hope, and love to dismantle poverty, racism, and other barriers to opportunity in the lives and communities we serve. That's kind of a high level what we are about. This tells you the whole story. If you can't see this, I'll describe it a little bit. This tells you kind of the essence of the genesis of Emmaus House. 1949, this is Peoplestown. Everybody see that? All houses and This was actually the Jewish section of Atlanta back in the day. 2013, that's the same area. You see what's there? Concrete. There's highways cut across this way. That's 20. And somewhere that way, that's 75, 85. And that was really, in a certain way, this picture tells you the genesis of Emmaus House. 1949, 2013, as you can see. Right? Father Austin Ford, who, I should have asked this in the beginning. I know probably everybody's going to raise their hands. Who's been to Emmaus House? Wow. All right.
A lot of us are volunteers.
I got you. I took that for granted. That was my mistake. Right? Ann made us go. Ann made us go. Ann's a legend at Emmaus House.
We have wonderful volunteers.
Ann is a legend at Emmaus House. So after those highways were being built, the Brave Stadium was being built around this period of time. It was like really kind of a rough time down in that neighborhood. And in that era, the governmental, whether city, county, state, federal, was ignoring the inner cities. And the folks that were living down there, this is the Summerhill Riot, finally reached a boiling point. And with the problems with housing, the problems with affordability, the problems with gentrification. Sounds familiar, doesn't it, in a way? And there was, what they call the Summerhill Riot. And it was a really tough time. You remember that? Some of you look like you maybe remember the 60s. So yes, the Summerhill Riot was kind of, some of you, not just a few of you. The Summerhill Riot was kind of a turning point event down in that area I showed you. And Father Austin Ford, an Episcopal priest, he was an Episcopal priest from the north side of Atlanta, pretty well-to-do, pretty elite, I believe. He decided the Episcopal Church was not really at the top of its game, the Atlanta Episcopal Church back in this time, having supported the exclusion of Martin Luther King's son, right, maybe from Lovett School and certainly from the cathedral for their graduation. So the Episcopal Church was kind of not where it is today, thankfully. And so Father Ford decided, and he was a civil rights advocate, he was going to come down, leave the hoity-toity wherever he was, up in Buckhead maybe or something, and he moved down into St. Bart's.
Not too far from here.
Not too far from here. Well, this is pretty hoity-toity around here too. And he moved down to, he bought a dilapidated house. There were actually squatters living in it. He found a Catholic sister, I believe, he said, I'm going to move down there and start a church down there, and I'm going to go live among the folks in Peoplestown and do civil rights work. He was a civil rights, really kind of a hero, I think. And that's what he did. I mean, he kind of put his money where his mouth is, pretty literally, and did that. And that was the founding of Emmaus House. And that was the first house was right here. That's where Father Ford lived, which is still standing there today. There he is. Who's going to read this for me? Ann. Can you see it?
Yes. So this is Reverend Austin Ford. We were all, in a way, radicalized and motivated to do something about a segregated society. I think those of us who felt it was wrong and worked to change that decision never looked back.
Thank you. Very good. That's Father Ford. A quote from 1996. Well, time marches on. Following the Summerhill Riot in that early 60s period, the government did begin to start paying attention to the inner cities. That's the Model Cities era, was the beginning of legislation and focus on inner cities across the United States. And that was sort of the growth of, Emmaus House kind of grew into that milieu. And you can see folks, in the earliest days in particular, right? These guys are good at mobilizing. They're still pretty good at protesting, actually. And Father Ford helped accommodate that. And so it was a very tight-knit community. I mean, and everybody, as I understand it and read about it, and talked to a few of the old timers. You know, it was a very tight. Everybody. It was a self-reliant, and it was a mutually beneficial group. And the earliest phase of Emmaus House was about folks recognizing their legal and civil rights. The poverty, they called the name of it was the Poverty Rights Office, and it was very educational about the legal rights of people, and about mobilizing people and community organizing. That was the earliest phase of it in this kind of first 5 years. You know, those of us who I didn't grow up here, you know, integration only came in 1972. You know, sometimes we sort of forget that. At the Georgia, any lawyers in here? I'm told that at the University of Georgia Law School, they had a celebratory event, and they were celebrating one of the Georgia Supreme Court judges. And he was there, and they called him and said, "You know, Judge," I forget his name, "you know, Judge, the only thing that you've had a great career. The only thing we hold against you is you didn't go to Georgia Law School." And without missing a beat, the judge said, "Yeah, because when I went to law school, I was legally prohibited from doing so." Right? Not that long ago. Right? So school integration begins in 72 down across the city. Food stamps, it was called food stamps, now called SNAP, right? Was started in 1980, right? And so Emmaus House its programs began evolving away from rights and education and mobilizing towards social services. And that's been the kind of trajectory that we've been on. 1992, we have a chapel. Anyone ever, you probably have been to, somebody's been to, raise your hand, you've been to the chapel. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, of course, of course. 92, the chapel it's still an operating parish, it's small, of the Episcopal Church, 1992. When bad things happen, and usually it's poor neighborhoods that get screwed by it, and the Olympic Stadium, of course, didn't help anybody down there. So there was an opposition to that. 93, the community came together and organized and actually got some trust fund monies out from that to help them a bit. But it was a big deal for all of them. Our bishop, Reverend Rob Wright, he does love Emmaus House, and he came and joined us in 2012. And I can say, the bishop's my boss, actually. Well, Laura's my boss, but he's like, Laura's kind of the higher power, but but the bishop's my immediate boss. And he's been a fantastic supporter of ours. Father Ford died in 2018. And so that was the end of that era. And like all nonprofits, Emmaus House suffered and was stuck during COVID, because so much of our workforce is face-to-face, and we rode that out, though, and came out the other side still going strong. And 2025, still great energy and commitment. So that's some of our team working there. You've seen them many times. But now we're in a time of change, and I'm going to come to I want to tell you a little bit about our programming, super quick, and then I'll talk, and we'll go to the whole kind of future. Right? Good. You guys, you with me so far? Is it making any? Okay, just checking. Like, this is the signal you get. Like, kind of speed it up. No, you're okay. All right, just checking. Key programs, who we serve. Freedom School, I mentioned. Reading enrichment. Georgia ID. So many people cannot get help because they do not have an ID. And people that do get IDs either lose them or they get stolen or whatever. And it's really there's a lot of people that are unhoused because they don't have IDs, right? So we do a lot of Georgia ID assistance with vouchers and other help to get IDs. We have a food pantry now. We have a client choice food pantry. People come in, they make appointments. We have a huge space. They get a list of what we have. It's not like take this, but it's, here's what we have. They can select. And we have probably, 20 or 30 people a day. How many people do you think come in a day for, yeah, lots for food, 4 days a week. So it's quite remarkable. And these aren't people, by the way, who are, slackers. These people have 2 and 3 jobs that are coming in. And at the end of the month, they do not have enough protein, so they come and they come to Emmaus House. Rental and utility assistance is a program of ours. A lot of the folks we serve are kind of they're on the edge of a cliff, right? And if they fall off that cliff, it's bad for everybody, society, for them, for your taxpayers. Your landlord is about to turn off your power. The power company is about to turn off your power. Your landlord's going to evict you. So in well-controlled circumstances, where we don't just throw money out the door, we help people pay their bills so their power doesn't get shut off, or pay their landlord. Food SNAP benefits is the food stamp program to help people access and be able to get those governmental benefits. Social Security benefits. We've helped people get hundreds of thousands of dollars. Has anybody ever dealt with the federal government like I have? I mean, I turned 65. I don't know how. I got 2 graduate degrees. I can't figure it out. So we help people navigate Social Security, MARTA cards, medical copay. Sometimes we have a mail station where people come and get their mail, and it's quite important to people. And then we have an after-school program called Families on the Move, which is for kids 7 to 17, to kind of keep them occupied and after school. So always busy. We serve the community of Peoplestown, but what we're finding, because of the gentrification that I'm going to come to, is people are coming from farther and farther away. The Freedom School kids are coming from really far away, because the Peoplestown is, as it becomes gentrified, there are fewer kids. They're closing, I think that's true all across all Atlanta, right? They're closing schools. So they closed one of the 2 schools in Peoplestown. The newcomers do not have as many kids as the folks living there, right? So we Emmaus House are trying to also, we call it Peoplestown Plus. It's like, Hulu Plus or Disney Plus, right? It works for them, it can work for us. But we're trying to see how we can perhaps offer some of the things and use some of our expertise outside of Peoplestown. Key challenges: cost of food, 15% increase in food requests over the last 6 months, right? We more than doubled our food spending in the first part of 2025. Rental and utility assistance requests are going up. It's all going up. Gentrification. If you own your home in Peoplestown, you think, oh, wow, that's great, you own your home. The taxes are killing people. If you're on a fixed income, we have folks that make $1,000 a month from various sources, right? If the price of food goes up 5%, I would guess for us, all right, we handle it. If you're only making $1,000 a month, if the price of food goes up 5%, that's a killer. Right? Oops. All right, you got that. And also the price of utilities. The price of utilities is really going up, the gas and electric, right? And that's also what you can't not pay it, right? Okay, you got that. I pause. Ann, how did that sound?
It sounded accurate to me.
Did that sound more or less accurate? More or less.
It's $9.94, not $1,000.
Yeah, $9.94, not $1,000. That's good. I was close, though. All right. Before I proceed to gentrification, any reactions to this? Any immediate thoughts, responses? Make sense? Yes. Yeah? Okay. All right. A great number of you have been there. 2 properties north of us on Hank Aaron. Last year, I noticed a house is boarded up, and another house is boarded up, and another house, and 5 houses in a row are boarded up. And then I notice houses behind on the block are getting boarded up. And then I noticed some orange, those orange like barriers go up. And now you can see here, this Emmaus house would be literally about right here. Okay? This is William Mark Designs, and they are building luxury condos. 2 properties north of us. Lots of them.
What's the price range of those?
Ah, it's funny you should ask that, because I am going to tell you.
$1 million.
Well, they start from the 575s. They start, wait, I'm not done. Wait, there's more. Wait, there's more.
Studio?
This is you can almost see Emmaus house. I took this picture last week. You can see the Emmaus house right up there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right? That's it. That's Hank Aaron. I think it was called Capitol back in the day. So you guys that have been there, can you imagine? I mean, think back to the Father Ford day. Can you imagine? Down here, there is so many condos. If you kind of go down there, it looks like Midtown Atlanta. It's insane. Here's, if you like to buy one of these places, here's some of your choices. They look very luxurious. Here's 9. Yeah, these are duplexes, I guess, right? I think there's 2 units in these. And to answer your question more precisely, you can get Unit B for $800,000. That's like the starting. That's not like, And so that's what's happening. A couple of blocks, a couple of doors north of us. Crazy, no? Can you imagine? What's happening in Peoplestown is this. There's sort of 2 Peoplestowns now, for those of you who know Emmaus House, in my kind of assessment of it. There's the kind of the legacy folks. They tend to be less educated and poorer. They tend to be black. And then there's the newcomers that are moving in, and they tend to be more affluent, more educated, and less black. They tend to have less kids. And so what's happening is you've almost got 2 neighborhoods going on down there, kind of slowly integrating, slowly side by side, not integrating actually. The old group, the legacy group, the 555 group. These are folks. They tend to be very much older. 1 in 5 kids in Peoplestown is in poverty, and most of them, not all of them, but most of them are being raised by their grandparents or people in their grandparents' kind of generation, right? 1 in 5 in poverty, like below the poverty line, and yet you have incredible affluence streaming in there. So if you look at the average of things, it looks like it's improving quite. Look at it, right? But it's really there's two groups kind of in parallel. So it's a very strange dynamic. I mean, okay, so here I am. I'm serving as the director of Emmaus House, at least for a little bit longer. The question I have is, and the question for you, how are we on, what time is it? What time are we done here? Okay, thank you. At least you didn't say you're done now. That would have that might have hurt a little. No, you're done. Let's hear thoughts. Thoughts like if you were me, or if you were our advisors, or what would you do?
This is not a thought, this is a question.
Okay.
But you mentioned that you're now kind of serving Peoplestown
Correct.
Plus. Are there, policies in place about what zip codes you're serving, or is it just anybody who approaches you wants help?
Beautiful question. A few donors restrict us to certain zip codes or places like Fulton County, Grant, but generally, no. Now, I will say, kind of from a fundraising perspective, right? All of you know Peoplestown. You all know we're there. What if I said to you, I think we're thinking of doing something over on the west side How would you react to that? Like, no, you got to stay in Peoplestown. Or, hey, that's not a bad idea. What? Right? That's a great question. All right, I saw you, but I'm going to go. Are you responding or part of this?
Yeah, well, what I was going to, what the thought that came to me is going back to the original vision, which he went to the place where people were.
Love it.
And that, I mean, when we were talking about poverty in the Bible, that's also what the early church did.
I love it.
They went where they could afford to be, and then they ministered to
I love
people
it.
in their midst. So it seems to me that that would be the direction you'd want us to go.
I love that. I think that's why it's called Emmaus House, you know, what you just said. Well, it's a road to a podunk town, 7 miles outside of Jerusalem, Emmaus, right? But Jesus went, if you remember Jesus appears as a mysterious stranger and all that, he went where people were, right? And he followed them and stayed with them. Remember, they said, "Stay." You know, who was this guy? Hey, stay, eat dinner with us. And I think that may be why it's called Emmaus House, to meeting people where they are. Yes, please.
So one of the things I would wonder is having conversations in the neighborhood
Yep.
with the legacy families as well as the newer people, because we're all connected.
Yep.
And so to think about how you do some of that there, but I'm not saying don't go where the people are. I think it's both, in my brain, it's a both and, but it seems like an incredible opportunity for the people with wealth to get to know neighbors that live in different circumstances and for them to work together for their community.
I love it. And that's what you just said that's what we're trying to do, basically. Yes. Okay, who's yes, friend. Get up and introduce. Come and stand up and introduce yourself.
Everybody knows Mary Ann.
Do you know her? Yeah. You know she comes to Emmaus House every blue moon?
Yeah.
That's not true. You come how many days a week?
Hopefully as few as two, but but there's you showed those block of houses on Capitol Avenue.
Yeah.
But there's, I kind of see where this is going. You're wanting to move Emmaus House?
I'm not.
All right.
I'm just trying to figure it out.
Well, there's so many people that are still there that absolutely depend on Emmaus
Yeah.
House. And
Absolutely.
they would be crushed and betrayed and hurt and betrayed and.
I'm with you. I get that. They'd be protesting too, by the way. Yes, I'm with you on that. That is understood and
ISIS stands to make a nice chunk of change selling it.
we have 3.5 acres. I get these brokers calling me
We don't use more.
I got these brokers calling me every week. A new broker wants to buy it. And it's probably those guys, right?
More than houses.
You mentioned before development was putting.
Does everybody know you?
Pressure.
We don't need to.
I can introduce myself.
No, I'm teasing.
You were talking about the pressure that development is putting on the community, taxes and all of those things. Is anybody doing affordable housing development there? Are there partners who could come to the table?
I'm not sure. Well, you guys may know this better. The affordable housing idea is very prominent. The bishop is very interested in this himself. It's complicated, of course, and what's affordable is not always affordable, right? If you know anything about how all these formulas work. But that, I think, is one very good option, is what Mercy Care did not far from us is they built some affordable housing next to their healthcare facility. So there's a lot of different options about that. And I think that's especially elder.
Yes.
The folks we serve, I showed you the programs, right? When you're 75, a job training program is not helping you, right?
A little late.
A little late. So I think that especially with the elderly, is an idea that's very prominent in our thinking.
A question, with these people who are buying and building, is there any way to go through the city to get them to do what Decatur had done at one point when they built certain condos or townhomes, whatever, they had to have a certain number set aside for, lower rent, lower whatever.
Or at least do some city improvements for the.
Well, I don't know the answer to that. I know I reached out to the owner 2 or 3 times and he ignored me, and then all of a sudden, bang, it was there. And so my guess is that boat sailed. But that's what the advocacy groups are trying to do, exactly, of course, what you just said. So, but it's a tough battle. Hold that thought.
Well, one of it is a question. You said there were condos back there, and I haven't been down for a while.
Yeah.
And so the people that moved there, and the people are living in the condos?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, these others haven't been built yet. So they knew where they were living? Or do they know? Do they know about people's town and vice versa? I'm talking pie in the sky now, and I realize that. Of the people who were in the condos might be willing to help those people. And at the same time, you say they're more white. At the same time, the people in people's town could realize, and I know they do anyway, but the people next to them are good people.
Yeah, I love this. I love everything about this. Probably is a little pie in the sky, but you know what? That's because we're all human beings. I love this. And you know what? It's very interesting. You know, one of the main reasons people do not have economic mobility, or do, is a thing called social capital. Anybody ever heard that? Social capital, right? If you grew up in Buckhead, you got a lot of social capital. You know lawyers, you know people that went to college, you know people that have jobs, you know the head of the bank, you know people at the Piedmont Driving Club, whatever it is, right? And so one way that the people that think about this academically say, if we can somehow exchange social capital, right? Doing exactly what you just said, that's a win-win. It's not just for the people that have it, but it's also for the people that don't have. You know, it's exposure. You know, in some of these communities, you don't know what's possible, and you don't know anybody to introduce you to it. So we're kind of, that's why mentoring and things like that are so important. Okay, I'm looking at the time. My wife's giving me that like, hey, you got to wrap this up. Here's what I'd like to. I've got a sign-up sheet for our email list. You probably are all on it, but if you're not, what would be the easiest thing to do with this? Send it around, leave it at the back. What do you guys think?
Put it on the table.
Put it on a table. Okay, I'm going to put it on the table. I'll put the sheets on the table because I'd love to have your names on our list. And I've also put a few sheets on the table with I've got a couple more back there, kind of quick facts, as well as a QR code for donate. You know what they say in the nonprofit world? There's no mission without commission. So I also have a QR code to our donate on our website. But this church is so gracious to us in cash, in volunteers, in sandwiches. Yes, sandwiches. Great volunteers.
Can I say something about sandwiches? Before COVID, we had a number of churches that were making sandwiches.
Yeah.
After COVID, we are the only church that is.
You guys rock.
Really?
Yeah.
You guys rock.
And those people depend on those sandwiches, and when they run out,
Yeah.
Keep increasing our numbers.
You guys rock. All right. Yes, please.
Do you all have any decisions or any idea? I mean, I know you're listening to us, like
Right.
what our ideas are. You just gathering, or do you have some ideas where you think, or?
Here's how it's going to work, right? We do have ideas, but they're general directions. They're not like specific. Affordable housing is one of them. And we're kind of bringing them all together, and that's part of what I'm doing is in the interim job. And we're going to present them to Bishop Rob Wright and a small kind of advisory group. If I gave you the names, you'd know all of them. And ultimately, it's for Bishop Wright to say we're going to make a change or not. And so we're kind of trying to make his job easy by, here's some options, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What should we do? Because I'll tell you this, friends, we can't just sit around doing exactly what we've been doing. Think of the history of when I started, right? Think of the history from 1949. The world is changing out from under us. And what we don't want to do is wake up 5 years from now and be surrounded by luxury condos and have our population dwindling down to nothing. We want to get ahead of that curve, right? And we have to be good stewards of the 3.5 acres and 8 buildings that we've got to be good stewards and make sure the value of that at its highest and best use, whatever that might be. And so that's what we're trying to, maybe by in the middle of this year, we'll have a thought on it. But I told Bishop Wright from the beginning, this cannot continue like this for another 5 years without some kind of change. Make sense? Yes? Back there?
Yeah, I keep thinking that it's being designated as historic preservation area, which would be protected.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. They look old. They certainly look really old. Yeah. Maybe so. I don't know the answer. I mean, maybe so. Yes, Paul.
It's really hard to get the new residents and the old residents together and working. So in 1980, I bought a 1,600 square foot bungalow over in Kirkwood.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And at that point in time, Kirkwood was not a desirable neighborhood.
Right.
A lot of crime, a lot of drug houses, that sort of thing. There were things in those early years that the new residents and the legacy residents who had been living in there were a lot of things that we could work on together. But during those years, there was also this underlying thread of racism.
Yeah.
Just flat out racism.
Yeah.
And I still, even though I haven't lived there in like 25 years, I still know a lot of people over there who were in community leadership, and they just voted down a neighborhood low income.
I saw it.
Now, the ZRB came along and approved that rezoning. So I think with this, and some of this is coming out of planning in the city of Atlanta, that we need to allow higher density into what were single-family home neighborhoods.
People are all in favor of it until it's their own backyard.
But I think that needs to really be, we need to start doing that aggressively in more neighborhoods than just Kirkwood, so that we don't end up with neighborhoods that are nothing but, me and up housing units.
Love it. Appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, wait. What? Are you giving me cueing me on something, or? Hold on. Let me get the gentleman back there, and then can I give Carmi the last word then? You want the last word? Okay.
What I think I'm hearing from everybody, which makes a lot of sense, I'm a former public educator, is we've got to stop seeding the gentrification. And I think the Episcopal Church could be a big force in helping us do that, just simply because of the resources that are available in greater Atlanta, really nationwide, and the efforts that the Episcopal Church made. So my encouragement would be, get into these churches, say, we can't just continue to let developers just go in just to build up property and then move somebody to someplace else where we don't take care of them. There has to be a way we can do this and make the incentives such that it works. So that's, to me, seems to be one place you might start, at least in your conversation, is where the school system, and this is, to me, this is sinful as an educator, that they close these schools.
Yeah.
That's infrastructure that could be serve
Yep.
populations of students and make it better for them.
I love it.
Instead of closing those.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. All right. You want to last word, close us out?
Well, my question for you was just, how can the people of Epiphany support the community in Peoplestown and Emmaus House during this season of discernment?
I would say just be keeping loyal, faithful. It's nice knowing you're here. And I mean, that sounds silly, but it's not, which is, if we do something dramatic, there will be disappointed people. Right? The leadership is about disappointing people. Change is, and so I don't know if there'll be anything dramatic, but if there is, I hope you'll be loyal, trusting supporters that we're doing the right thing, and we'll continue all the service and support you give to us, whether you don't maybe not agree with it or not, that sort of thing. But just keep on the track you're on and don't get off that track is my plea to you all, because you've been super generous to us in so many different ways. Good? All right.
Yes, and so I want to thank you so much.
All right, well, thanks for having me.
Here, for
Appreciate
your
it.
time
All right,
today.
all right.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you both for being here. If you all have volunteered at Emmaus House historically, can you please raise your hand? I know many of us have been there. Yes. And I know that some of you all are continuing to do that. So I encourage us as a community, we give money to support the ongoing work of Emmaus House through our community engagement budget, but so much of what we do depends on volunteer hours as well. Our ECW folks make sandwiches every month for the people at the Loki Center who are there seeking assistance. We have volunteers who have taken snacks to the Freedom School, who have helped read there. You all turn out every year for Thanksgiving at home and for the Christmas program, so let's not let that fall through the cracks, even in this season of discernment, because the people there still need to know that they're seen and that they're valued, and that is one thing that we can do now. We can also continue to pray with Joe and with all of the people who are tasked with trying to discern what the Spirit is calling us to do in this season. And as he said, these are tough decisions to make. So I think one of the best things that we can do is hold the folks at Emmaus House in prayer, the people in the community as well. We've been talking about transfiguration, and sometimes our eyes are open to things that we hadn't seen before. So I invite us to just be willing to be open to what the Spirit might be calling us to do in this time. Yes, Jeanette.
And if you're retired, remember the QCB. If you make a donation out of your IRA, it goes towards paying your taxes.
Fantastic, yes. Some tax incentives for being generous as well. Yes.
Have a way,
Yes.
some more money than you, if you didn't know about that.
Thank you for that. Thank you. I think we can help get the information about that. And also, if you're retired, have a surplus of money to share or time to volunteer. I think both of those
Just
things
give me a
would
call.
be welcome. Yes.
I'm easy to find.
Joe put you to work.
Yeah, I'll find something.
So I also want to say that in this formation time, we've been talking about the Bible and poverty for the last 5 weeks, and this is how our faith maps onto the world around us.
We
And
did.
so
We got a beloved family here with us.
So I want us to just be thinking together about how we can continue this work and how we can live out our faith and to let the love flow from Epiphany into the wider world, knowing that we also receive gifts when we risk proximity with our neighbors. And then finally, I want to just say that next week we'll be starting a new 5-week series in Lent. We are going to be co-teaching a class on John Deere's book about nonviolence during Lent and the journey to Jerusalem. So we're going to continue having a lot of good discussions, I think, about how our faith maps onto the world that we live in. And so I invite you to please come be part of that. And if you have ideas, want to volunteer for anything at Emmaus House, please feel free to reach out to me or to Joe, and we'll get you plugged in. Thank you so much for being here today, and it's been a pleasure. And happy birthday again to Bruce.